Hey guys, welcome back. Today we will cover nested and labeled statements. Let's start with nested control statements. One control statement used inside other control statement is referred as nested statement or nested block. Some examples of nested statements are if statement inside another if statement inside loop inside another loop, etc. There are two nested blocks I will cover in this lecture. First one is nested if and second one is nested for loop. Let's start with nested if. This program checks the eligibility criteria for Indiana Jones Adventure Ride at Disneyland. If a person's age is 10 years or more and his height is 46 inches or more, then this ride is open for him. But if his age is less than 10 years, then he should get the message, sorry, your age is less than 10. This solution uses nested if statement because we are using one if statement inside another if. Let us call this as outer if and this if as inner if. Logic is if age is greater than or equals to 10, then go inside and check for height. If height is greater than or equals to 46, then print the message, enjoy Indiana Jones Adventure Ride. But if height is less than 46, then don't do anything. No output is shown to the user because there is no corresponding else available for this if. Now if age is less than 10, then execute this else block and print sorry your age is less than 10. So this else block over here corresponds to outer if block. Let us verify the output. First case is if age equals to 9 and height equals to 35. Let us run it. Output is sorry your age is less than 10. First this boolean expression is checked. Is 9 greater than or equals to 10, which is false. Hence Java runtime executes this else block which prints sorry your age is less than 10. Let's check case 2 when age equals to 15 and height equals to 47. Save it, run it. This time output is enjoy Indiana Jones Adventure Ride. Control first checks outer if. The boolean expression is 15 greater than or equals to 10, which is true. It enters if block and checks inner if. Now this boolean expression is 47 greater than or equals to 46, which is true. Java runtime executes this statement and hence we got this output. Note over here I haven't used the curly bracket as there is only one statement to be executed. Let us check one more case. Age is 15 and height is 45. Save it, run it. We see no output. Control first checks outer if. Is 15 greater than or equals to 10, which is true. It enters if block and checks inner if. Is 45 greater than or equals to 46, which is false. Control does not enter this if block. And as there is no corresponding else of this inner if, the whole if else block ends and nothing gets printed onto the console. So far so good. Here comes a dramatic twist. Let me remove the curly bracket of outer if. Save it. No error. I am expecting no changes in the output. Let us verify. From where this output came? Age is 15, which is greater than or equals to 10. Hence, this should not have been executed. This is a wrong message. Or is it? Let me reveal the secret. After removing the outer if's curly bracket, this else block no longer corresponds to outer if. It corresponds to inner if now. Let's check the logic now. This if statement is executed first. Is 15 greater than equals to 10? Which is true. The control enters if block. Now it checks this boolean expression. Is 45 greater than equals to 46? Which is false. Control checks for corresponding else block. Now in this case there is corresponding else block available. Hence this statement gets executed. And that is why we see this output. Over here you have seen one more example when omitting curly bracket can make the logic bit confusing. And because this is confusing, so you should avoid it when you code. But for the same reason as this is confusing, lots of questions are asked in the written test or Oracle certification exam. So be prepared. Eclipse IDE can indent such codes properly. Select these statements and press Ctrl-Shift-F. Save the file. Now we can easily say that this else block belongs to inner if. But in certification or interview questions, you won't find such clear indentation. There is a trick to solve such questions. Let us see an example. In this example, we are nesting up to 3 levels. In Java, there is no limit on nesting. Before you guess the output of this program, let me tell you the trick. Let us first mark the if statements. This is first if, this is second if block, and finally this is third one. By looking at the current indentation, you must be thinking that this else block belongs to second if and this else block belongs to first if, but that is not the case. To mark the else block, we start with innermost else and pair it with innermost if. In this case, this is the innermost else and this should be paired with innermost if, which is third if. So let us write 3 over here. Next else should be paired with next if, which is second if. Save it. So now tell me the output. It should be very easy now. Check first if condition. Is 3 greater than 2? Which is true. Go inside if block. There is another if inside. Check its condition. Is 3 greater than 4? Which is false. Go to the corresponding else, which is this, corresponding to second if. Hence, C will be printed onto the console. Let us verify this. Run the program and C is printed onto the console. Sometimes the question is asked without indentation, like this. Whatever be the form, always start with inner else and you will never be wrong. Let's move to nested for loop. Nested for loops are the most important nested control statements used in the IT industry. If a for loop encloses another for loop, they are called as nested for loops. Let me start with a simple example. In this example, the for loop over here is defined inside another for loop. Hence, I mark the first one as outer for loop and this one as inner for loop. For each iteration of the outer for loop, inner loop completes all the iterations. What I mean to say over here is, for I equals to 1, inner loop runs twice. For j equals to 1 and j equals to 2. For I equals to 2, inner loop runs twice. For j equals to 1 and j equals to 2. And for I equals to 3 as well, inner loop runs twice. For j equals to 1 and j equals to 2. Let us first see what happens at runtime. When Java runtime encounters a for loop, it first executes the initialization expression. This is for outer loop. It creates a variable I and initialize it to 1. Then it checks the Boolean condition. Is 1 less than equals to 3? Which is true. Control goes inside and finds another for loop. So the initialization expression of this for loop is executed. Let us name it as inner part. Variable j is created, which is initialized to 1. The Boolean condition is checked. Is 1 less than equals to 2? Which is true. Control goes inside and executes this statement. This statement prints the value of I and j separated by a space. The value of I is 1. So this prints 1 space and value of j is 1, 1. Then control goes to the step expression of inner for loop. J becomes 2. Boolean expression is checked again. Is 2 less than equals to 2? This is also true. Control goes inside and executes this statement and prints the current value of I and j. So I is 1 space j, the value of j is 2. Step expression is executed one more time. J becomes 3. And the Boolean expression is 3 less than equals to 2? Which is false. Control comes out of the inner loop. Once the control is out, j is not accessible. You can say that lifetime of j is over and it ceases to exist. It cannot be accessed in future. From here, control goes to the step expression of outer for loop. It increments the value of I becomes 2. The Boolean expression of outer for loop is checked. Is 2 less than equals to 3? Which is true. Control goes inside outer for loop and it starts executing inner for loop. Java runtime executes the initialization expression of inner for loop. Previous j is dead, so it creates another variable with the same old name j. J is initialized to 1. The Boolean expression of inner loop is checked. Is 1 less than equals to 2? which is true. Control goes inside and prints the current value of I and j separated by a space. So value of I is 2, value of j is 1. Control goes to the step expression. Value of j is incremented by 1. J becomes 2. Boolean expression is checked again. Is 2 less than equals to 2, which is true. Again it prints the current value of I and j separated by a space. So I is 2, j is also 2. Control goes to step expression again. J becomes 3. Boolean expression is checked again. Is 3 less than equals to 2, which is false. Control goes out of the inner for loop. J is dead again. From here, control goes to the step expression of outer for loop. I becomes 3. Boolean expression of outer for loop is checked. Is 3 less than equals to 3, which is true. Control goes inside. It creates variable j. Initialize it to 1. Boolean expression of inner for loop is checked again. Is 1 less than equals to 2, which is true. It prints the current value of I and j separated by space. I is 3, j is 1. Control goes to the step expression. J is incremented by 1, j becomes 2. Boolean expression is 2 less than equals to 2, which is true as well. It again prints the current value of I and j, 3 space 2. The j is incremented by 1 one more time. J is 3. Boolean expression is 3 less than equals to 2, which is false. Control goes out of the inner for loop and j is dead one more time. From here, control goes to the step expression of outer for loop. I becomes 4. The Boolean expression is checked. Is 4 less than equals to 3, which is false. Control goes out of the outer for loop. The main method ends and the program terminates. So we will get these 6 lines printed onto the console. Let us verify it. And output is same as what we had solved. 1112, 2122, 3132. So 1112, 2122, 3132. I am stopping this lecture here and I will continue this topic in next lecture along with labeled statements. See you in next lecture.